First few years of college, I threw every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
Welcome to the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. It's Bracket Sunday. The road to the national title starts right now. It's the quarterfinals between the St. John's Ravenscourt Eagles in the white jerseys out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, taking on the Bowmanville Talons in the dark jerseys out of Bowmanville, Ontario. Theo Wan here with Andrew Portwine, excited to bring you the action. Before we start, we want to acknowledge this land is the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Anishinaabe peoples. We thank you for tuning in today and are always looking to build a more diverse group of Ultimate Canada volunteers. If you're interested in commentating, manning the camera, or other live stream duties, head to Ultimate Canada's website at CanadianUltimate.com. We also get the opportunity to play with a Discraft disc, the official sponsor of discs for Ultimate Canada, and outfitted now with the Be Ultimate gear. So if you want some, you might not be here, but if you want to check out some of the gear, you can head to Be Ultimate's website or social media pages to get more information about that. So now back into this game. We got perennial contenders, I'm going to say it, Andrew, in Bowmanville and SJR. It's a heavyweight battle, but it's in the quarterfinal. That's pretty exciting.
Theo, the atmosphere here this morning, the viewers, as we were just teeing up this game, you could probably hear the chanting from Bowmanville. They are hyped up the way they should be for this atmosphere. It has that, you know, to steal a hockey reference, it has that playoff atmosphere this morning. There's something different today.
Yeah.
As you said, two powerhouse teams. This is a juicy matchup for this early in the bracket.
Bowmanville starting on defense. I'm going to start with 4 male matching players. Cooper Pollitt. If you tuned into the stream yesterday, you would have seen him go to work throughout the contest against the Nepean Knights. SJR went 2-1 yesterday, finishing second in their pool, whereas Bowmanville, their first 2 games, Andrew, wasn't particularly close, 13-2, 13-0, and then a narrow 9-5 victory over the Cactus of Notre Dame. Bowmanville's offensive line set to go. They have a lot of players who have played with their junior open program stud and bring that experience over. Observers for this game, Justin Lee, Linda Kudo, keeping things moving in this contest as we're momentarily about to get started. Cooper Pollitt about to pull, and the Talons in dark to receive here.
So Theo, we saw SJR yesterday. They did rely pretty heavily on a core group of players. We tried to talk to Coach Dean Wright this morning, and he was tight-lipped, doing his best Paul Maurice impersonation, not giving us any information how he's going to play.
Get the pucks in deep reference.
He didn't give us any indication of how he's going to play it today with a wider bench or riding those superstars in a tight game like we're going to have this morning. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out on the SGR side.
Crawford with a disc here for the Talons. Averall going up line, but instead settles for Lee. Ian Lee has a couple brothers that have played for the Durham stud program as well. The younger brother, Ian Lee now, feathering it forward, and that will die into the turf, and Cuvalier, the closest defender for SJR. Perhaps we're going to see throughout this contest, but you know, they're on the live stream. It's quarterfinals. Nerves can get the best of you, especially at this level. So we'll see what happens. Pollitt going to be a quarterback of this offense, working there with Connor Minish. And expect to see Justine Russell all over the backfield as well, number 19 in white, as they continue to move it up. Cuvalier over to Pollitt. Pollitt putting this out, but it gets eaten away by Averall.
That's a pretty big height mismatch in the end zone. If you're going to try and hit that target in the end zone with that size of a defender, you got to put a little mustard on that and get it in quick. Too much float.
Only in grade 10 is Averall, number 22.
You'll notice Bowmanville has a lot of height. I'm interested in some of these matchups now, just on pure size of the players.
Great throw into space, trying to get Averall open in the bid attempt, but I like the inside look. And as I say that, there was a stall down call. Schlacklar there was the thrower.
So Theo, notice Bowmanville was throwing a zone against SJR earlier on in this point, but their wings and their mids were tight to the cup. SJR swung it, one pass, and got a chance at the end zone because they bypassed essentially the front half of the cup pretty quickly, or front half of the zone, sorry.
That throw going to sail over the head of Russell, and good attempt there from Paul. It's going to be ruled in. Crawford may have thought it was out of bounds. Rocking the reverse sunglasses on the hat. A little baseball homage right there as a rep baseball player. Pollitt in power position now. As Russell finds her up line and continuing the movement over to Siddiqui. SJR, their D-line offense moves really fast. We saw that yesterday. Inside shot finds Russell for the score. And SJR gets on the board first. They start with the break.
You talked about quick movement. Russell on the sideline made that slap, caught it on the line, didn't hesitate. Straight up the line for the continuation. No stall in that offense. Catch the defense off guard.
When receiving the information from the Bowmanville Talons, they had kind of an upwind, downwind set. So I don't expect to see Averall, Crawford on this line. It looks like they are walking, in fact, to the bench here. Four female matching players on the field. And as I say that, Averall actually back on the field. So maybe they're going to abandon the upwind, downwind, at least for right now. So with the ratios the way they are, folks, 4 female matching players on the field means a female matching player will pull. And that, for SJR, will be, I'm going to say, exclusively Justine Russell.
With good reason. Clearly has a strong arm. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a nice quality pull here. And look, we have some SJR players coming over to our near sideline. They realize the importance of this game. Talk to your teammates. That could be 1 point. That could be the difference, Theo.
I know it's a break early in this contest, but 1 point can separate a championship to a bronze medal to a 5th place finish. So it does matter a lot here. Justine Russell set to pull as Harding dashing across the field. I think breaking some of the time cap here. I
think that's the observers really holding fast that 3 personnel on one side of the field here by the camera.
Russell's pull gets way past half field. As the Talons now, no mark. That's going to give Jamison lots of time to move here. Stolarak is out there, number 13, a player to watch. High-level lacrosse player, a tall cutter. As this throw is going to go up for Averall. Pollitt, Matt in coverage. And that's going to bounce off the hands, a low catch attempt there. And I like that matchup, Averall, Pollitt, the 2 top players for each side going at it.
You could see that Pollitt immediately got up after falling over, making the D. He wants to fast play it. He was sprinting to the sideline to get that disc in. Nice movement from SJR.
And Bowmanville on their defensive set, setting a zone. You don't always see teams do that, especially if some players are newer to the game. We've been told some of them on the female matching side at least, not a lot of club experience, but a lot of other sport experience bringing that over to the ultimate field. Receiver going deep. That's Williamson. This throw is going to hang Cuvalier there and knocks it away. Great play that from Cuvalier, one of the Team Manitoba women's players there, but there is a call.
So Linda Kudo out listening to the call, just getting the players to address it themselves.
Also see Rowan Jamison, a stud player, in discussion as well. sometimes what can happen too is if you have a player who's a little bit younger in the game, you have a more veteran player that comes in and doesn't necessarily tell the younger player to make a call, but just giving them some advice, or at least that's what you would hope, that they're not influencing them. The rule, this is what you can and can't do.
For sure. I mean, there's always good to have that guidance. And as I said yesterday even, the observers have been very good about taking the extra few seconds and explaining, we understand at this level, we want the players to get the call right, but also learn the rule if there's any doubt in their head, right?
Looks like this is going to, in fact, stay with Williamson. Tapped in. Flips it over to Stolarak, and Bowmanville gets the hold.
Stolarak's a solid player. I have a feeling that name will be repeated frequently on the broadcast today. Excellent cut to the end zone. This Bowmanville team, they're so tall. A lot of length, long arms, tall players. I'm curious to see how that length is going to slow down SJR maybe on the deep shots and some of the downfield plays. You got these nice tall players, good long arms.
Especially in the zone, that's going to cause some issues as well.
Yeah, I tried when we were speaking to the coach, I was trying to get a little out of him. I was asking, is he going to put some of these tall gentlemen into the cup and have a very imposing three-man cup, all these like 6'2" kids? He wouldn't spill the beans for me, but we might be able to watch out for today to see if he's going to try and throw off an SJR handler with a big imposing cup like that.
This Bowl squad established in 1999, and the teachers there, Kevin McLeod, Chris Beatty, helping coach this squad, and we'll talk about this throughout the broadcast, that there are multiple players that have played on Team Canada and high-level club teams from this school. So hopefully some of these alumni watching. I see some of them actually in attendance here as well, some people on the sidelines. So that's great to see. It's a shorter drive than, let's say, Winnipeg.
You know, Theo, they've won the Ontario Championship 6 times. It's a pretty prestigious program if you can start racking off championships like that.
We're excited to bring you a battle of 2 prestigious programs right now in this quarterfinal matchup. Cuvalier was very a calming presence yesterday for them in their win against Nepean on live stream. Minish working with Ryan Marshall. You got 3 players who have played for Team Manitoba, both on the male and female matching side. That's a good handler core to have on his own offensive point here. No Pollitt on the field right now for the Eagles. Instead, they're going to work it through Marshall and now Russell on this close sideline. Cuvalier doing a good job popping in and out.
They've been swinging the disc. You can see the fragmenting of the cup. They're starting to get a little tired. They've been going side to side. That one went through the middle. It was nice recovery. They couldn't take advantage of it.
See Ian Lee buzzing around, but Cuvalier gets behind him. Siddiqui a few yards away from the end zone and a hold for this Eagles squad. Back to Minish. Some confusion on if there was a call made, but I believe it was just a stack call here. Marshall over to the break side to Russell. Russell moving in and out. It's kind of looking like they're still in a zone set close to the end zone here, Andrew.
Yeah, that's a long hold on the zone, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just maybe something you don't see as often from a lot of teams. They will melt, you know, as you cross half or get to the brick mark.
Minish trying to put a spicy inside out, but it gets eaten up by Crawford. Crawford did a good job of trying to avoid contact as well. Shaklar over to Crawford. Shaklar was also on the left, going right to left, so some of the big guns coming out there.
There's a couple of free passes distance from the defense. That's half field that Bowmanville got for free before SJR could get the defense on.
Shaklar with some hammer fakes, going to go with a flick instead there, and gets another block. That's a second block there from Cuvalier, number 3 in white.
Yeah, trying to hit Santos downfield. She did have a step. The throw hung a little bit in the air, just not able to get the little drive on that toss.
Drop there from Marshall is going to give the opportunity here for Bowmanville. This is a defensive point, folks, for them. Crawford throwing it out high for Lee. And Lee undercut it a bit. Maybe could have waited seeing the arc of the throw, but that's a tough bladey throw there. Would have liked to see a more throw floating into space.
Yeah, that was a pure isolation in the end zone. That was a one-on-one. You get open, we're going to try and hit you.
Minish inside shot, nice move there. Finds his target, Kara Minish. Cuvalier just buzzing around and then throws a little too far there for Russell.
Nice bid to try and retain possession. Can hear the communication from the SJR player on the mark. Excellent communication with his team.
Sadiki doing a good job there, rocking the hat in style as well. Did that yesterday, going to keep it going here for the quarterfinal. Got to do that.
Makes me want to go over to the B tent and maybe buy a hat.
The aforementioned Sadiki now with the disc. Being marked by Payne Davey in the zone. Davey, number 44, setting the mark here for the zone set. 3 female matching players around the disc. Shakalar thought about getting a block, but decided it was best to move backwards, which is a smart move. Sometimes if you bait the throw too much or go too forward, then they break out in space, and he's doing the same right now, backing up from the disc. Sadiki on this close sideline. Gets it over to Cuvalier.
Aggressive on the wings in their zone. They're coming down and challenging those gainers. Line. Another big D. We talked about that earlier. I was wondering how the length was going to affect SJR in the back half of the zone. There it is. That's what, second, third, 1 and 3. Timeout called. Maybe looking to settle things down, string together some passes, get that offense clicking.
With that timeout, we're going to take one as well, and we'll be right back. First half action of the quarterfinals here at the Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. Bowmanville in dark. They have the disc right now. This is a defensive point for them. There's been a few turnovers on each side. Crawford launching a flick, looking for Santos once again. But Cuvalier has been all over the field, buzzing around the cutter space in the zone offense, and then on defense doing a good job as well.
I feel like that stall count was getting a little high. They waited for that handler cut that was a little squirrely and took a few stalls. Pump it downfield to at least get your field distance out of it.
Shakalar now goes with the hammer to Santos, and just out of the hands there. Good idea. Santos was open there.
You see what I was talking about. Trust your defense. They punted downfield. They got the immediate turnover and the shot they wanted. Better than eating the disc on a high stall count in front of your own end zone.
And they have the throwers right now in Crawford and Shakalar who are in the backfield for them. Lee, good effort, but Sadiki gets a disc, and now they're out and moving here. That's the danger of if you overbid there on one of the side wings in the zone.
I will say that was Ian Lee, but he peeled off and really reset himself well.
Cuvalier taking the contact and catching the disc under pressure. You see why she has played for Team Manitoba there. Marshall over to Minish. Minish down the line for Sadiki. Crawford is there. And this disc didn't really have a chance. I think it was out of bounds, pretty close to the release there.
Had the defender bearing down too. That would have been a nice challenge had that been in play to see those two going after a sky battle. Really far downfield on the set for Bowmanville.
Robinson coming underneath, gets it under some pressure there. Like to see her stick with it, and now moving over to Shakalar, Caleb. Looking for a teammate, but that throw is going to settle into the turf here. And so with the turnovers the way it is, this is one of those points where the team that gets it really got to be feeling good, but then the other squad's really deflated. So you can't really play those players once again, right? Because it's been so long.
Big wide swing that just came out of bounds right in front of our table. It's good to see SJR trying that wide swing to widen the field and make Bowmanville run. Just got to have that touch, keep it in play.
Crawford delivering some instruction with the point, and we've seen a lot of that from these handlers at this tournament, which is great to see. Handlers telling players where to go. As we see a tumble there and see what comes out of that. Players help each other up, good spirit there. One of the defining parts of ultimate spirit of the game, and great to see both players ready to go. Involved in that as well. Davian Wunderlich there as the marks along with Santos. Santos was trying to get the dish from Siddiqui, but he'll get it on this close sideline. So Davy on the mark, Wunderlich and Santos on the wings right now. Minish, nice inside shot. Gets over to Marshall, who then feathers it over to Russell.
Bowmanville had done a nice job. The cup had brought them right to the sideline and pinned them on. It was just a nice punch through the cup to reset.
Karen Minish dishing it over to Connor Minish.
And there's the wide swing I'm talking about. Really get that defense moving.
Santos now on Siddiqui. Great save there from Cuvalier. Gives it a Minish, and now it's a little give and go action.
Had the open look to rush the throw. Didn't have the proper grip on that one. Open strike in the end zone, or open cut to the side of the end zone.
Looked at Coach Sean Storm there in disbelief. A little hammer to get out of that space for Crawford. Sean Storm, one of the coaches of this Eagle squad, along with Dean Wright. And Dean Wright, someone who has brought a lot of people into Ultimate through Winnipeg. So if you see a lot of players who play for Team Canada, who've played for Team Manitoba, a lot of it has to do with Dean Wright.
Yeah, an absolute legend in the game. He's been building the sport for years and years and years. You know, he doesn't necessarily help us as the tight-lipped,
But he helps the players, though. That's what matters.
He helps the players,
yeah.
so he's building the sport on one side. It would be sure nice if he'd give us a tidbit of information or two to, help our job too and build the game through the media side. But
no, he does a great job coaching, and we're very thankful for his contributions, as well as, of course, the Bowmanville coaches. Each one really helping these programs continue to build and have players that join these junior club teams and then adult club teams as well. Players learning zone, newer players into the game. That's just really going to bode dividends as they try out for these club teams, or already in the process of doing so. And for Bowmanville, they have a lot of people try out. Did we hear that right in the beginning of this game there, Andrew? 3 teams that they have?
we did. That's amazing. They typically run 3 teams through Bowmanville. So fantastic turnout, fantastic in the sport here in the east side of the GTA.
Crawford here marked by Siddiqui, gonna go up the line. Is this throw gonna stay there? And even if he did catch it there for Shakalar, it was gonna be out of bounds. Good defense there from Ryan Marshall. Mentioned a few of those names, Marshall, Minish, Siddiqui, Daya was there too, and Paulette, all part of the championship winning squad. And if all those players return here for this Team Manitoba Open side, it's gonna be very dangerous for all the other juniors out there watching at home. Great effort from Russell to keep things going.
Amazing, amazing. She's had a solid weekend so far. We've seen a few games, been privileged to see her play a few games. Just been amazing play.
Siddiqui also second effort grab, keeps his feet in bounds, toes the line. That takes a high level of athletic skill and concentration.
Enough concentration that while he was sliding to a stop, he was looking up at the observer, waiting for that signal to say he was in so he could continue play.
Jour has done a great job of swinging the disc here in their zone offense. It's just the execution into the end zone that's kept this point going for them. Otherwise, I think they would have put it in. And the fact that the Talons have set up their zone defense even within the end zone, you don't see that a lot, especially at the high school level. So I think that might be throwing a wrinkle for SJR as well.
Yeah, we've seen SJR, they're getting through the first wave of the zone, but they aren't having the quick strikes to the end zone. It's a slow progression up. The zone is actually slowing them down and making them throw the disc a lot. We talked about them using the wide swings. There's one through. The zone will recover. And there's the D. It's exactly what we're talking about. It's a change in view and a change in philosophy for what SJR is used to seeing and what they want to do.
Davey had a teammate open, but now Shakalar is going to holster that instead. Likes to hammer and finds Ian Lee, who got the block earlier. Two hands, emphatic.
The other thing with this Bowmanville team, a lot of their handlers are so tall.
When you're looking for a teammate, but it's batted down there.
A lot of the handlers are so tall and they have the mismatch on their mark. That hammer isn't sort of a traditional hammer that might be dangerous. They're almost guiding it into the receiver that's only 10 or 12 yards ahead, not very far. So it's not as dangerous as you might think.
There is some discussion here with Lee and Marshall. I believe there's a foul call there. If I could get closer to the action here, Andrew, I would, but trying to listen
Theo,
in to see what's going on.
You've got 6 feet of cord. You can go a little closer. Go get the intel.
So some discussion still happening with Linda Kudo and Marshall. Ian Lee has walked away, so I think he may have given up his position on the call. He did look a little bit frustrated in the discussion, so usually that means the call not going in your favor. Just putting that out there.
Now he's sauntering back in to resume some discussions.
This has, of course, been the longest point of the game. This game started at 10:30. So if you're just tuning in, we thank you and appreciate that. It's a quarterfinal matchup between the SJR Eagles and Bowmanville Talons. And the road to the championship starts right now, of course. I said that earlier. If you want to win a title, you got to go through some tough teams, and we're seeing that right now. Ian Lee gets another block on this point. Throw that a couple for him for number 10.
Yeah, almost came from the blind side of the player.
Crawford has a couple teammates there. Shakalar bobbles but catches it for the break. Bowmanville breaks back. It's 2-1.
The sort of, I'm going to say, half-hearted spike, like long point, tired, thankful to just get off the field, I think, the way that spike kind of get out of his hands there.
We'll be curious to see is who shows up for SJR on this next line. Paulett jogging onto the field. See who else takes the line for the squad. I see a lot of fresh players. Josh Harding is jogging out there. Talon's having some discussion. Don't have the full line out there on the field right now.
Yeah, perhaps looking to see if someone who just played that marathon might be able to go back on.
Vicky Lee, Bryn Martin taking the line here, so it's a fresh squad for this, or fresh line, I should say, for this SJR team. Chase Morehart is there. Played for Manitou, which is the second squad there in the Team Manitoba system. Averall going to take the pull. Male matching players of 4 on the line right now, and he had a chance to sit off, same thing with Paulett. So those two big-time players are going to be rested. And that's actually Rowan Jameson on the pull here.
Excellent pull going into the wind that is picking up slightly.
Bowman Paulett working in the backfield along with Morehart. Graham on this close sideline, dishing it back to Paul, who had some pressure there from Watson. Watson on the mark here for this Bowmanville Talons team. Lots of energy right now, marking all these big-time handlers as it discontinue to move laterally for this Eagle side. Graham resetting it right away back to Paul, and this keeps moving here for the team in white.
Yeah, lots of touches, but not much forward yardage gain. It's exactly what, as I say that, punch it downfield.
Harding had Lee, but going reset over to Pollitt instead. That zone still in tow, and it's going to result in a drop from Morehart. So this strategy of keeping the zone even into the end zone, paying dividends right now. We're seeing it constantly with multiple end zone turnovers from this Eagles side. Castor high throw. Who's going to get there? Bowmanville keeps things alive.
Bowmanville, they're setting their offense up so far from the handlers, leaving lots of open field for these cuts, but it means they're long, linear cuts.
Averill hangs up a flick. Jamison trying to get there, and he will take it into the end zone for another Talons break.
The throw hung and hung and hung, and it allowed a secondary receiver to get downfield and actually make that grab. Is that Jamison that made the grab, using some height, but also had the step on the defender.
How will SJR respond right now? They had some of their top line players having played that really long point, so then Russell wasn't on the field, Cuvalier wasn't on the field, Minish, Marshall, Siddiqui. Pollitt was on that point, but you're mixing up some of the lines here, and even right now, let's take a look at what SJR is doing. They got Pollitt back on the field. Russell is there.
We watched SJR yesterday, and Pollitt didn't get a break until I believe the second last point of the game. He was on the field, rode through him basically for the whole game. We saw him get a break today, early in the game. He just sat off 2 points ago. So maybe a little different strategy. Maybe give him a rest, getting ready for the long haul, full game.
The tricky part today is that there are a quarters and semis back to back. You do get a break there before, if you make it to the final, you do get a bye. So load management, as that term has been coined aptly by the Raptors with Kawhi Leonard back in the day. You got to kind of do that as well. It's the balance of trying to win, but also saving your stars for later as well.
At the risk of sounding like every sports movie, though, there is no tomorrow if you don't win this game. You have to play your stars. You know, resting Pollitt early might come back to bite them.
Speaking of Pollitt, he's going to launch a flick out into space and running onto it. Not in, though. And he does find his teammate in Daya for the score. That's the hold the Eagles needed. Zhang there on the catch for the Eagles. And it's 3-2.
And Theo, you can hear the cowbells and some cheers behind us. I'm just going to turn around and take a look. One of the other games going on behind us looks like 7-2 for our top seed. Playing Lacoud, I believe that is. But I believe that's 7-2, so the cowbell and the parents, nice cheer behind us. You can probably hear that on the mic, so I just thought I should turn around and see what action was happening behind us. I get distracted easily, Theo.
Well, there's lots of action happening throughout as quarterfinals are taking place currently, so of course throughout this complex, games going on, including those fighting for the 9th place bracket as well. Adam Scott in the lead there. Expect to see them make a big run, so we're seeing them flex their muscles, at least right now.
Back to our action in front of us. Nice pull.
Big hammer fake there from Jamison. Him and Averill really working the backfield. Two tall handlers for this Bowmanville side. Ball bouncing, or disc bouncing in and out of the hands of Casarier. Hit his face a little bit too, making sure he's okay. And that zone sets right away here with Evans on the mark. Jamison and Watson as her wings.
Can hear their sideline telling them they're going the wrong way on these resets. They want to see their teammates get a little more forward momentum here with these tosses.
Looking for Aubrey Burns there, but throw stayed a little far. I do like the idea of zoning someone a big-time thrower like Pollitt, because then he can't unleash the Hucks in the same way, because there always is someone, a tall player for Bowmanville in the defensive deep space there. Good matchup with Harding on the mark, riding a long cover there. Up the line for Stolarak. A lot of fakes here from Bowmanville, really trying to shift the mark. You can see what they've learned in practice. Powering up the flick is Averill, looking for Jamison. Working against Pollitt, he's gonna outmuscle him for the score. Good body positioning from number 12, Roman Jamison.
That was excellent jostling for position. Both players leaning shoulder to shoulder, fighting for that space.
And Andrew, we're seeing both teams settling in. Two holds, clean holds from both sides respectively. And that's what happens. You get some of the nerves out early in a quarterfinal. You know you're on the live stream. All of Canada's watching you. And now things start to settle in. There gets to be a little bit of rhythm here. Bowmanville's still going to keep with that zone. Haven't seen that from SJR, especially on their defensive line. They're going to go more person, which is fine. That's the different strategies going on, and we'll see which one wins out here.
Yeah, and we saw SJR on their last offensive possession. They had a deep strike for the goal. That was the first real deep strike they've had. They've been swinging a lot and chipping away at the zone. So maybe, did they figure something out? Did they see something in that they liked and they can attack? Or was it just a misread on the D and they got, that deep strike? So I'm curious to see how that zone is going to continue to hold up. See if SJR actually figured something out.
I personally love the zone deep in the end zone right now for them, because it's really causing some issues for SJR. And if it works now, why are you going to change it, right? Like, it's worked so far. You're up that break. Davey on the pull there with 4 female matching players as the disc at half field. Bohm now on this line. Called his name a bunch against the Nepean Knights on the live stream yesterday. Good active mark there for the Talons.
They're really compressing the field. You can see where everyone's on this half of the field. It's allowing Bowmanville to really compress their zone and challenge on the wings. We see the mark in the zone is shifting, jumping at some of the fakes. It's allowing the through punches.
Shakalar and Crawford and Lee have been really working together on this line. Davey as well on this point for the Talons. Lee, low throw looking for Davey, skips into the turf, but gets a friendly bounce, rolling into the SJR side. Minish getting things moving here, back over to Russell. Finds a sliding Burns there for the catch. You mentioned Lee being very active, and him cheating up there allowed a breakout to happen for the Eagles. I like the activeness, but you got to stay a little bit in your zone set there as he falls down. He's hunting for a block, folks.
Yeah, he's had a few already. He knows what it feels like to get that big D.
Crawford running over with the disc, gonna launch a backhand out for Shakalar, and it bounces off the hands. Great pressure there from Minish to make things a little bit more difficult.
And that's what you like to see from the defender. He was outmatched in height, maybe had a step behind, and he's still challenged, because you never know what's going to happen.
Crawford slaps the disc down, loses his hat, puts it back on, got the Sunny G's in reverse here. I just like the style some of these players have. We got the eye black earlier we saw yesterday. Lee finds Shakalar, who avoids a diving Bohm, and Bowmanville gets the hold.
So Theo, we're seeing SJR in a position that they just aren't used to traditionally, and I know we haven't had this event for a while, so these are all new players, but as a club and as a program, they're just not used to being pushed. see how the coaches react.
And I stand corrected. That is, in fact, a break for the Talons. They're up 5-2, and that's going to prompt an SJR timeout. And we're going to do the same and be right back.
Coming for the timeout. You might have seen Theo streaking across the field. He's doing some reconnaissance for us. Excellent job, Theo. Out of breath from that run across the field.
No, I'm actually playing Frisbee this summer, so hopefully I'm not too out of breath from that. Jersey numbers sorted out here, making sure we get the right player name. Morehart is back here on working with Marshall and Pollitt in the handler space. Cuvalier back on the field. Nice to see that. Going and a drop there from Daya. That's tough, but there might be a foul. Lots of players in discussion.
Yeah, that didn't look right coming out of his hand. I didn't see an exact foul pass. You could tell something happened. What I will say for SJR, just those first passes, their handlers are, you're not gaining anything by passing just 6%. You really want to try and spread out the defense if you can. Use the field.
This SJR squad, we talked about the championship pedigree. They've won 3 of these. 2 to the Game Awards as well. Bowmanville coming in second, both 2019 and 2018. So they're trying to knock on the door of a medal, another medal, but this time gold. Paul putting up the flick. Everyone just scooping it out of the air. A little height mismatch there on Daya. And he also took position as well.
Could you imagine having a defender that size on your team, Theo? Like, he ate that throw up.
In the hammer, he's been really pressing me with his athleticism. Cuvalier is there. James almost had it. Williamson almost had it. But Clear's pressure, I think, kind of changed things on that catch.
I think we have a out of bounds call. That could be a cost mistake right at the front of the end zone.
Absolutely, especially with the way the offense has been going here for the Talons. Jameson has it on that front cone. Scuba over the top. And Stolarak for the score. And it's a nice Talons side.
Yeah, Stolarak is such a good in the end zone. You can see people not afraid to throw a hammer, not afraid to throw a scuba. A little bit of wind showing up, and they're still confident in their throws.
We see how Bowmanville can go in the ALONS, and then conversely, SJR trying to fire up their squad, doing the same here. They had some adversity yesterday in their contest because they went 2-1, as I mentioned earlier. Lost 13-7 to one of the top seeds we expect to see in the semifinals in the Etobicoke Collegiate Rams. And so now they're facing adversity once again, down 6-2. Bowmanville a chance to take half here with another break. So that could spell real trouble right now. This is a key offensive point for the Eagles.
Yeah, we've seen Bowmansville D put a lot of pressure on SJR. SJR will be going into the wind here as well. So this may not bode well for SJR. Let's see if they can calm it down, spread the field, get the rock in the hands of their stars, and just get a goal and settle it down, right? From a coaching point of view, SJR called that timeout before the point, and they still got scored on. So that might be a little a tough pill to swallow, let's say, from the coaching staff. You know, you were talking to your team and you were letting them know what you wanted to see from them, and it just didn't work on that point.
Paulin is out there, Siddiqui, Russell. Russell moving it down to Zhang. Eric Zhang. Seeing some of his first action of this matchup. Paulin moving it well. Bryn Martin finds Zhang. Still set. Big fakes from number 7, Eric Zhang. As SJR keep moving. And Paulin finds Harding, and that's the hold they needed. That quick movement, swinging it side to side there.
And you saw the zip on that throw. That was purposeful with intent to punch that in the end zone to the receiver. It's almost a little frustration coming out, like, we need this.
SJR has 3 points. One of them was a break to start this contest, and then the holds that they've gotten have been what we call clean holds, so no turnovers on their point. So we'll see if they can do more of that right now. Now they got to put on a strong defensive line, trying to get a break. Harding is back out there, Siddiqui, Pollitt, Cuvalier, Russell. We talked about how they're going to focus on a lot of their top players playing many minutes. On the Talon side, we've seen Averill play, but he's been going one direction mostly. Ever since he crossed over that 1 point, going right to left, he's been going more or less left to right exclusively. And so we're seeing a different type of personnel, philosophies, and ideas come into play.
Yeah, and if I'm SJR right now, oh, that's coming towards us, Theo. What I'd like to see, Bowmanville clearly isn't afraid to put a throw up in the wind. Hammer, Scuba. Don't bite on those high throws as a mark. Stay low and encourage them to actually throw it up into the air over your head. It's going to hang, and it's going to give your defense a chance to challenge.
Averill choosing, he did set a pivot. So now there's some discussion here. I know the spirit of the rule. I'm not going to share too much of my opinion on this, but there is the rule that if you do set a pivot, you have to take it from where it is. Of course, these are high school athletes learning the game, so there's a bit of give and take there. It
was actually nice. The two coaches spoke and agreed as well, so that's kind of nice to see the coaching
You do want to see that because, you know, if this was a gold medal worlds, I think no one would say that. But with the high school level, a lot of these players learning, potentially playing Ultimate for the first time, you want to give them some grace in that area. Averill shooting it for Stolarak, and that's going to be a beauty throw there. Averill's been all over the stat sheet. That's his 3rd assist of the game.
And the receiver, great hands.
Stole goal of the game as well.
Third goal. That was
there.
That was looked like a fingertip catch. That was excellent to hang on to that.
See Sean Storm talking with observer Justin Lee here. The score of 7-3 is going to bring us to halftime. Bowmanville up 4 points. They will be starting on defense, so SJR are going to have it on offense in the second half. We thank you once again for tuning into this coverage. Want to thank, of course, our sponsors in Discraft. You got to play with a disc. Use Discraft, so make sure you go out and grab yours, as well as our apparel sponsor in Be Ultimate. There's a Be Ultimate tent here, and if you want to get your gear, you can head to Be Ultimate and get yours today. If you're presently in the field, you can still be a part of this tournament, and you are already a part of this tournament by being on the stream. We thank you for that. And right now, Bowmanville up 7-3. We're going to take a halftime break. Second half action coming at you from the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. The Bowmanville Talons, your 3 seed, up 7-3 right now. Pulling to the number 5 seed St. John's Ravenscourt Eagles out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Theo Wan here with Andrew Portwine, bringing you the action from Ajax, Ontario. Your observers, Linda Kudo and Justin Lee as well. Some discussion on what's happening with the poll. If you're just tuning in, there's a lot of furious action to begin the game. And Bowmanville got on a little bit of a break train here. It was 3-2, and then at one point they went up 6-2. There was going to be a repoll to take place. Andrew, you obviously were here for the first half. What does SJR need to do to get back to this contest?
You know, I felt SJR was moving the disc well. I think we spoke about this. They moved it well. They were going through the first. They just get that last punch into the end zone. So if they can tidy up the last 10-15% of their offense and just get into the end zone, they're all right. I think they kind of beat themselves because they had to swing so much near the end zone and then got frustrated and tried to punch it in too early. Clean that up a little bit, they'll get some goals.
Daya kicked the disc up, and Bohm's going to walk it back here. Good spirit from the SJR sideline as well. That throw is going to hang up to Russell, and the wind picks it up. That was Olivia Evans on the pull as well, getting it past half field and putting SJR in a bad spot there. Nice hammer fake, gets his mark to move. Don't see that every day. That throw going up for Averall. And he'll come down with it from Jameson. Those two have been a great combo for the Talons.
And Theo, you can tell the wind is swirling. The receiver did almost a full pirouette over the shoulder, over the other shoulder, trying to track that down. Excellent catch. But you can see the wind is having an effect on the disc now. It's picked up at halftime.
Grady Averall, the one who made the catch, plays for that Durham Junior Open Club team I mentioned. And only in grade 10, I'm told. That is kind of scary for the rest of the division and for the junior clubs as well. He's only in grade 10 making plays like that.
And we've seen the Durham Juniors program has grown a lot in recent years. They've become a really good program here in the GTA and really for Canada as a whole. So this is a player they're turning out. Watch out.
SJR, they're looking for some answers right now. Morehart's on this offensive line. Minish, Paulett, Harding, Cuvalier, Russell. Trying to identify that last player for you, but that's their offensive line that they have here for this point. And I said before it was kind of a must-have point previously before the half, and I think here it is. It's 8-3 right now. Need to settle things down here and kind of get some mojo going if you're the Eagles side. Rachel Graham, the other player there on the field for the Eagles.
So Theo, you know, my coaching side is going to come out here. That pull landed in the center. Oh, what do we have? Hold on here.
Tough collision there from Shakalar, colliding into Russell. That is a foul for sure. We'll see what else comes from this. Bumping into Russell, she's trying to make the grab. Shakalar was in the wing space there. Don't know if there's going to be a contest at all.
Well, they're finishing. I'll finish my thought while we're sorting out what happens. That pull landed in the middle of the field. Bowmanville has been forcing toward our sideline, toward the camera here, all game long. And that first pass from SJR was toward this sideline. You're playing into the defense's hands. If you can catch that in the middle, first pass should be the break slide because you know the force. They've been doing it all the first half, right? Don't play into the defense's hands. Take a free pass to the break side.
Vine been very active on the mark. Trying to disrupt things right now, but they get it through the cup. Harding keeps his feet in bounds on the far side.
Excellent job from the wing, taking away that swing pass. Is that Watson coming down, pressuring the play?
Vine been super active on the mark, causing some trouble with the throws as they're moving it down into the cutter space a little bit. With some pace down, that was what gave them success earlier in this contest. Russell moving over to Paula. Wind really picking up. You can hear it on the microphones here. It was a little bit of a sunnier skies yesterday, a little more overcast right now. Harding has a target open in Graham. Still has a couple players open. Paula then finds Graham and just in and out of the hands as she also falls to the turf. Crawford picking up for the Talons. And SJR really got to tighten up here on defense.
And you could see what I was talking about. They got frustrated with the plays and tried to put too much emphasis on that throw for the goal, right? Like, need to clean up that last throw to the end zone.
Foul called by Crawford on Moorhart's mark.
We have a deep strike. Good choice to look that off on the initial look.
He receives the under instead, and that does keep the offense moving here. Bowmanville playing a little bit more possession right now. Wonderlic open on this far close sideline to us. Crawford with some backhand fakes. You know he can huck it, does just that with the backhand. A nice tip there from Minish. Saw that was going to be underthrown, stepped in and batted it away. With the wind picking up, the advantage has been with Bowmanville, but I think the zone really going to have an advantage now with the swirly wind.
It will, and I mean, we just saw it even there on a swing pass. You know, the disc hit the turf, and it's just the wind playing havoc now.
Russell going with the hammer. That throw didn't have a chance upon the release here. Once again, you got to account for the wind, and that's young throwers. You love this win, though, for them because it allows them to practice and gain experience with some of these ever-changing elements in Ultimate. You're not always going to have still weather here.
Yeah, you could see that throw, the wind actually typically has been going upwind, downwind. It's starting to come into our face a little bit toward the camera. So that hammer didn't have a chance. It was pulled out the sideline right from release.
Shackler going to get a catch block. Disc thrown right to him. Fakes the hammer instead. Goes to Watson. Watson going to hammer of his own. And this one works out, finding Vanessa Vine for the score.
I will say on that one, you can see the form changed on the hammer a little bit. Hold on to it a bit longer so it's a lower release and driven to the receiver versus a high floaty hammer that's going to get caught in the wind. So perhaps an adjustment on the hand technique because of the wind. Never thought I'd say that with high school players. You know, you're adjusting your hammer technique mid-game based on conditions. From a coaching point of view, even these hammer fakes, wouldn't that as a coach make you
and 4. Calvin in their quarterfinal up 8-3, and Etobicoke Notre Dame in a battle with Notre Dame up 7-6.
Notre Dame and Etobicoke? Wow. It's good to see. Nice competitive match. Maybe it's the GTA bias. We thought Etobicoke was going to have an easy time. Maybe we're clearly...
Based on the results from yesterday,
Yeah,
based on what we had saw, yeah.
Yeah. And it pulls up. Nice hanging pull, bounce.
A couple of drops, just been unfortunate here if you're a Eagles fan. Aubrey Burns there, the intended receiver. And things get away
get off that first cut, I think.
Noam Kasser is the dump, guarded by Daya. And Pollitt was on the mark. Power flick from Averill. Looking for Jamison. Minish is there. Excuse me, Marshall making the play. And went all the way back to the handler. You see Hustle right now trying to will his team to a victory here. Averill is there. Averill again, you cannot test him in the right now if he here.
That looked like a foul on the mark. No call. It looked like a little chest-to-chest bump there to throw the throw off into the turf.
Watson, Stolarak on the mark.
Nice hands.
Continue to jog there and trying to set up the zone. Evans is the main person on the mark for this zone side. It is tiring out there. Offense is doing. We're going to credit a block there for Jamison. I know that was a drop, but his presence.
Block.
Clean
I saw
block.
A block in there.
Clean block there.
Don't be that's away from that young man.
You got a block there. Okay, we're going to make sure you get credited with that. I don't know who's keeping the stats for your team, but we'll give you one.
Observers resetting some of the players here. In on 3, we can hear the observer shouting that even through our earphones.
The observers mic'd into us right now, I'm just saying.
That's fantastic. Everyone's on the same page. Clear instruction.
Bobbled and then eventually dropped there. Great effort from Hedrick. Stolarak really putting out the pressure on the mark with the voice, and that swing a little too far for Marshall. This wind really affecting things now. Can hear it through our microphones. And I would say advantage Talons just with the way their zone has been working. This throw is going to pop up. Jamison, is he going to be in bounds? And he is. Rowan Jamison with the toes. That Averill-Jamison connection working out a few times in this game, and that's another break, and it's 10-3 for the Talons.
Talons are pouring it on right now, showing truly, I think, the class of their program. Skilled players. SJR has been trying to challenge the deep. It hasn't worked 2 or 3 times now. There's been that D. I think they need to change their thought process and continue with the short game and just chisel away at this lead.
Time not on the side of the Eagles right now. And with the zone the way it is for the Talons, it's going to cause an even more uphill battle for this Winnipeg side. They have the moxie, as we told you. They've had a program since 1991. I could list all of the members that they've produced, but that would just take too long on the broadcast because they've produced so many provincial national team members. So it's pretty exciting to see that, and we've already talked about Sean Storm and Dean Wright and what they've led and helped with this program. The Bowmanville Talons coaches, Kevin McLeod, Chris Beattie. They also dipping into the disc golf game from what I hear. If you're out in this neck of the woods, you can check out the Newcastle disc golf course. And you know, a lot of Ultimate players switch to that for COVID. They switch back now. But
Theo, you talk Bowmanville. Does the word bomber mean anything to you?
Jeff Powell as well, yes,
Yeah.
of GOAT and Team Canada, played Team Canada World Games, and he's an alum among many others here. Luke Comire, who plays for GOAT. Another one, Ryan Polaz, and those players having gotten their experience through this Bowmanville program. So you're seeing the legacy of these two schools really showing out on the national team and club stage.
Yeah, it's a litany of players that have gone on to great things from this program, and the consistent coaching over the years has helped, right? Clearly the coaches have some magic out here.
Wang getting that disc.
Theo, I see Sadiq has taken the hat off. I think it's about to get serious for SJR. They know what's on the line right now for this possession.
No hat for Siddiqui. Maybe less sun, more wind coming out here. Nice grab there from Rachel Graham, keeping things alive for this. And Ian Lee continue to still be active for this Talon side. You know, he's hanging on the wings, trying to cause some disruption. Siddiqui trying to feather it through. Good effort there, but it's going to come up empty. Bryn Martin, the intended receiver. Up the line for Crawford. Crawford doing a great job of shoulder checking to see who was in the way. Sure he wasn't going to run anyone over. That's a veteran move right there from Liam Crawford.
He's got such a large catch radius too. The handler really could just float that to space. You know he's going to get it.
And just the safety too. That's something we always talk about, is the body control, making sure players make plays. We want to see big plays, of course, on the live stream, but players making those plays, but also avoiding contact.
I was going to say, we want to see injury-free big plays on the stream. And it's been very good this weekend on our stream. We've had a lot of players that have made big plays, but great body control, knowing there's a defender that they potentially could land on or they need to dodge in the middle of their play.
And while we have this pause, we'd like to also give continued shout-outs to the observers, as they're the ones in discussion right now, Linda Kudo and Justin Lee. We also have Sarah Eady producing things on the ones and twos, as they say.
If anybody can make us sound good, Sarah.
Jacob Kaj on the camera, making things happen. So you see the stream. That's always exciting. Wang on the mark. Played for Manitou. I had mentioned Moorhart having played for them, and potentially, hopefully, they move on up this year. I don't know if they decide their teams yet, but maybe he move on up to the A squad there. Crawford has Lee as his dump. Shook him off initially, now going up the line instead. Santos, don't think was the intended receiver, I believe it was Shakalar, but Santos had an effort there, but came up empty.
Theo, we've been on the multi-sport theme through the weekend. You look at this list of Bowmanville players, lacrosse players, hockey players, soccer players, the field awareness. Maybe that's why they play zone, because they know their players know the spacing and field awareness. Everyone's played other sports. Rep basketball. Basketball players make great ultimate players. They understand the cutting lanes and the cutting space.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday for sure, how them playing multiple sports throughout the season, throughout their careers, is going to help them. Siddiqui, sans bucket hat with the disc. Nice little round throw to Binish, who's donned a hat of his own now. Great mark there from Davey and Vine. Santos out there as well on the wings.
Second guessing that throw, that quick continuation could have went out a little quicker. It eventually got there, but they're starting to second guess their throws.
High throw now looking for Wang, but Crawford is there. That zone with Crawford Averill back there is really hard to beat. I think you got to not try to take the top off, but really working with quick movement instead.
Yeah, you can see that they're well disciplined in their zone. The deep obviously is going to clean up and allow those wings to play tighter and challenge these throws on the front half of the zone, because you know you have your safety net in the back.
Crawford looking off his dump instead, puts a flick pretty flat out there. And a great grab to get another break for the Talons.
The read on that play, the receiver took 2 steps in and was going to undercut it, read the disc properly and backed up to make that catch.
Olivia Robinson making the grab for the Talons. Another break. Crawford throwing another assist in there. His second of the game.
Excellent read on the disc. As I say, to be very honest, that is one of the most underrated skills that ultimate players overlook, trying to develop that as a skill. Get out and have people throw to you. Learn to read a disc. You'll get a step on the defender a lot of times by just knowing where you're going. Just taking a little peek behind us, I see that Adam Scott and Lacoud have finished up. I can't see the scoreboard, but one of our quarterfinal games has wrapped up. We'll see if we can get some updates from some of the other fields before we before we go off the air. I'm being told it's 13-6 from our producer.
The Adam Scott squad from Peterborough, Ontario, moving on to the semifinals.
Yeah, so
We'll have that on the stream. Their opponent TBD right now. So if we get updates, we'll let you know. Morehart going to be a center handler on this point. Cuvalier on his side. No Pollitt right now, or Russell. So bench opening up a little bit here for the Eagles. Not sure who that was intended for, but Averil's going to scoop it up regardless. He's probably had about 5 or 6 blocks today out in that deep space. Marshall going to get the block. That throw hung up a little bit there from Kentner. Getting some shine here on the defensive line is number 9. Morehart, does he keep his feet in bounds? It's ruled in by Justin Lee on that close side, or closest to him. That zone set here for the Talons, that 3 female matching players throwing really active marks, and then 3 male matching players in the deep disrupting things. Been a real recipe for success for the Talons.
it has, look at lots of time. Mark is coming in. Oh, hammer to the end zone.
It's hammered, and it's caught for the score. Stolarak makes it happen.
Theo, I'll give you one guess. Who's catching that goal?
Well, make it 4 goals there for Stolarak. And it's 12-3 the score. They're trying to punctuate this game in style, throwing a huge hammer in the skies.
Stolarak, lacrosse player. Lacrosse, maybe people are afraid to get a little close to her and try and box out. Pretty rough sport, isn't it?
Able to, I know there's probably some other ex-lacrosse players out there for them. I know Bowmanville does, or that area produces a lot of those as well. So time cap about to loom here.
No updates yet, Theo. I'm bugging our producer to try and get these updates for us. I know we want to know what's going to happen in the semis.
Shakalar going to pull here. Rep basketball player for this Talon side, Caleb Shakalar.
You think he can dunk? Would you say grade 10 earlier?
Oh, that was Grady Averill's grade 10.
Oh, sorry. Well, grade 10, you think they can dunk?
They're closer to dunking than you or I ever will be, so that's all we'll say.
You could sit on my shoulders. We still couldn't dunk.
True to stay in that zone, and if you're going to play Bowmanville later on in this bracket, you got to watch out for this zone look. Nice grab there from Zhang. Concentration as the wind wobbling the disc a little bit there.
It's nice you can hear the SJR coaches in encouraging them. Next one on those swings across the field. They want to go wide on the break side.
Sweet grab with some concentration there. The horns off. Bryn Martin making that play. This will in fact be the last point of this contest. This game all but decided here, and a tough finish for the Eagles. Of course, their season not over. They still got to battle for 5th, but their medal hopes are going to go to the wayside here, as the Bowmanville Talon is going to move on and believe they're going to be taking on the winner or Kelvin if they're continuing to hold their advantage.
Yeah, and while we're standing here, we can see Adam Scott. They're starting to spill over from their previous game coming over to this field, as we're going to have them on the next broadcast. We're still waiting, I believe, for an update on their opponent. Was it Etobicoke?
Etobicoke, Notre Dame. When we had talked about that earlier, it was a close 8-7 battle. So,
yep. So maybe a mystery opponent. That could be going to Universe Point.
Mystery opponent, and that may, I'm not going to say it will delay things, but we don't know yet of what will happen. So we'll keep you updated, and of course you can stay on the Ultimate Canada YouTube page for all of that information. Nice throw floating by Ian Lee over to Shakalar. Looking for his teammate there. That's a score for Holden Watson. And that puts a bow on this one. Bowmanville takes it 13-3. They're moving on to the semifinals. Congratulations to them. The SJR Eagles going to contend for 5th. We're going to take a break. We got action coming for you. Don't go away.